Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? This is Eddie Marcus again. Lord have mercy. I want to thank you so very much for stopping on this post. Today I wanted to talk to you this early morning, a little later than yesterday morning, on the subject matter, the real deal. And this is surprising. I've been out here for over 40 some odd years. I've been committed to the task for which I've been speaking to you about. I'm thinking that everybody's basically familiar with, hoping that we, the people, will rise up and we would meet the occasion that we are all hoping for. But an evil world, as this world that's established by the people's rejection of God, thinking that it's going to change and become righteous because of something that someone says or someone does. I want to tell you, it ain't happening. I see now the real benefit appears is for one to establish who we are, who I am, real or fake. It's almost like a mission. Standing up, watch what you're doing, watch what you're saying, and see the outcome. Well, that is basically, as I would say today, the real deal is basically what it's all about. You see, this is the time that our mask can be made, who we really are. Do we hold on or do we give up based upon the things that we have challenged with every day, whether it's successful or not? But when it is determined by the continuation or discontinuation of the things that we do, when we determine that it is genuine, we ourselves, and I guess the universal power, which is always known, maybe or not, but when that is determined, you know, that's when things can really change. Because during that time, it depends upon what you have been called to do, or what your challenge is in life. Some people might have been given a job, a career, a responsibility, a call, a challenge that would make them, if they're genuine, cause them to get killed. You know? And the killing part about it is that the God that you speak about, the universal power that you speak about, will allow that to happen to you. Man. And you think about it. You just give it some real thought. Can the world change? Will it change? As I focus on these years, I actually thought that if we stood up, did the right thing, the earth would change, America would change, more than just me, more than just you. We as a people would change and we would actually receive the results. Somewhere in the Bible, I remember whether it's true or not, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all the things that we desire, need, want, will be there, will be provided. Seeking ye first the kingdom of God. And to me, seeking ye first the kingdom of God was getting yourself right and standing up amongst whatever you're standing up amongst and reflect your rightness according to what God is revealing, to the extent that it will have effect on where you're standing. In other words, if you come into a dark room and you're the light, it's like flipping on the switch. All of the darkness is gone and you can see it all. The problem of it is that we oftentimes forget is when you flip that switch off, when you walk back out, all the darkness that was there when you came is there still. It didn't go anywhere. It was just temporary. It was just fooling. Now, the thing that really bothers me when I hear people say, "I don't care what they're doing. I'm just looking out for me and mine, me and mine." That's the stuff is crazy. Well, see, to me, that's okay, I guess, if that's as far as you can see. But my job, my responsibility is when I turn my light on is that it's you in the middle of a system that is no good. So it is the challenge is to have the big room open up, big room open up. And I guess that's when you think about how is it going to come. And then I was focusing on that, and I thought, having lived all these years, done all this that I've done, and still things aren't changing. I mean, to get worse. And then I'm reminded that some of those things that could, for instance, let me give you a real example. I love the way human beings look. I watch people. I feel bad if you look like you're going through some changes. I feel thrilled if you look like you got it going on. But at the same time, I'm thinking, how can you have it going on and be so satisfied? I guess this has to do with the way I was brought up. And as some form of slavery down in Mississippi, cotton, chopping cotton and stuff like this. I always expected to see, as I mentioned, the big picture change. And so when I had the opportunity to see something small, for instance, like when I talk to you, especially on camera in a close up, and every time I open my mouth, one of the most embarrassing things happen is that you see my teeth. I need dental health. It's been destroyed. Yet I feel bad about it, but I have to talk to you. So I choose my having to speak to you over what you see in my mouth. Still bothers me, but I do it anyway. And when certain other things that needs to be done, for instance, around the house, my growing up tell me, if you got the money, don't just give the money away. Use it for something else. Because we grew up knowing that as black people, we didn't have any money. Anything that was messed up, we had to fix it up. It wasn't no call the pro. No, you weren't calling no pro. You were the pro. They call you the jack of all trades. You did everything. A tree mechanic, what they call it, when you are a mechanic working on the tree trying to fix his car, trying to be a roofer, trying to patch up a roof or anything, because you're letting this be a motivation for you to not give up because you don't really want to do it. You just have to do it. Or that's the choice that you make based upon trying to hold on to something that you think is a little bit more valuable. And I can recall the times my wife wanted to do certain things that would, you know, fix something up, and I would talk her out of it because I wanted her to hold on. Hold on, things are going to change, and I'm going to go out here to fix this. I'm going to take care of this. And then after years and years, this fix up, this patch up, it's just that. And sometimes I think, well, it would have been good if I had got out of the way and let her did it. But then you think, I don't know about everybody, that that in our day and time, it might have been appropriate back a long time ago, but in our day and time, we live under systems, and this a big group of people, a community, a city, a town, a state, big group of people. We're living under a system, but how righteous we try to be, if we live within that system, we are promoting a system that destroys what God has designed for us. And so you just have to not give in. People who give in, people who say, go out and just go and get a job. They don't care where the job leads to, where it comes from. You're not out being a mafia dude. You're not going to go rob a bank. But I mean, just going to a job to teach or to be a doctor. Any of these things so helpful, but it's within a system that denies other people access. Look at the world today. There are people that's doing real good, but there are people that's hurting. So the thing in my mind is, how can people that's doing real good be satisfied at the people that and accept the thing that people that's hurting? Look like to me that should trouble you, and it should cause you to find something to do to change the way things are. Well, that has been my mode for quite some time. I was thinking about that because all of the struggles, all of what I think I have accomplished for me, the change in my understanding about life, all of that, when I bring it all together, I still am just me. The world is not getting any better. The world is still worse. And you say, well, how can this be? How can this be? What is the universal power waiting on? What is the universal power going to do? And yet you take it out of the universal power because you think about, for instance, in America, the things that's going on. We got stuff that they don't, that we've had hired people, well, the system says you can elect people to go in, especially in a democracy, to protect you from this danger, protect you from that danger. And you end up, for some strange reason, the protectors that you thinking that you're getting are really the facilitators of that. And then they hide it, don't let you know it. Things come out, you got some system that's designed to say, expose this, be accountable for this, and all of that, just ignore it. And that's something you got to hassle with. You got to stress yourself out about because it doesn't happen. And that seems like should be motivation for people to do the real thing. But I guess if you don't know what the real thing is, you just spend your whole life seeing this and seeing that, and challenges come and challenges go. I guess that kind of makes it easier for you to say, I'm just going to look out for me and mine, and I'm not going to worry about the rest. But still, for some people, that's not good enough. It's just a challenge, like having a broke down house, having a raggedy mouth, uh, things that you sacrifice while you do what you've been given to do, hoping that change comes. You know, Sam Cooke, change is going to come. But then you give it some thought. For some strange reason, you don't just give it thought. You find yourself in a moment in time that's bringing some realization to you. And you might think about, there was a time, at least the book said, I don't know if it's true or not, that Noah lived. And they say the world was just as messed up as it could possibly be. In fact, it was so messed up that they say it was time to destroy it. Really, time to destroy the world. Well, this one isn't destroyed yet. It's working on it. But then it was. And they say it came by a flood. And that's the story of Noah. You heard the story. And after everything had happened, most of the people, as far as we know, according to the story, passed on. Just a few left. The world really didn't change. It was just empty, mostly. But it really didn't change because the same things that was going on before, it started again with the few people that remained. Then I would think about Jesus. You know, and that they really got us confused about Jesus now. We don't know whether he was black or white. We don't know what his purpose was according to what we're being fed. You know, one time we were just fed a bunch of stuff. And it is truthful. If somebody compiles the Bible and tell you that you don't, every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and everything that it says is absolute, you're taught that, you believe that. And it might not be the truth. It's like going to school. The history books are written, and you read certain things, like maybe Christopher Columbus discovered America. There were no black people anywhere except servants or slaves. If you read that instead of that, that's all you believe. Or you might hear that white people or a certain group of people were superior and they were this and that. If you read that, study that, then that's what you believe. You might be dissatisfied with it. You might have some ambition to want to change it, but if it's really into your psyche, that is what you really actually believe. And it produces exactly what it was designed to do. So Jesus, they took Jesus, you know what they took Jesus, turning his whole mission about religion to a Christianity that Jesus didn't say, but they said it. And so we believe in the Christianity that we were taught. Now we're getting exposed to stuff that about Christianity that came from different parts of the world that's so different than what we have been taught. It's absolutely pathetic. But it's the same things that happens continuously on. So Noah passed on, even all the people gone. The world still, society, the world really didn't change. Jesus come along and does all the things that Jesus did whenever, before Moses or after Moses. What did it do? It didn't really change anything. I mean, really, it really has not changed a thing, especially when I think about the country I'm living in, the United States of America. I realize this thing is going down the hill. Then I think about Israel and Gaza. I think about Russia and Ukraine. I think about, it's happening all over the world. I'm just mentioning these few because they're right at my fingertips. You know something that's different. You say, wow, wow, what's really happening? Then I think about um, people like Gandhi. You know, if you I don't know if the story is really true, but they put out a book and they put out a movie about Gandhi. And Gandhi, a lawyer, but he's standing up for what he understands as being righteous. And then on the TV, I must admit, I was a little moved by this. When Gandhi opened his mouth, he had one or two teeth. And so I'm thinking about if somebody as important as Gandhi ends up looking like this, well, who am I? So it's okay. I mean, it might mess with my head a little bit when I'm talking to you, but at the same time, it says something deeper. It says that I'm not looking at the beauty, I'm looking at the mission. And, well, what happened to Gandhi? Did anything change? No, baby. It didn't change. They ended up killing him. Wow. Real deal. I didn't have to think about Gandhi too long because someone came along like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. These guys had two paths to walk going to the same place. And it didn't matter. They were dynamic in what they were doing. I mean, the people were listening, really listening. So what happened to them? They were killed. Two little changes were made temporary to make people think that their lives were not in vain. That's just to keep the rest of us from getting all excited, thinking we better get busy. No, they gave us a little scraps, and so we settled down, knowing the stuff exists, but believing that the change is coming. Malcolm X, uh, it just blows your mind. And then I'm thinking, well, what is it all about? Then it goes back to the part of that what you are about. What do you understand? And whatever it is, if it's to be good or bad, I like to speak about the good part. It's just to determine, are you really real? Are you really genuine? Do you know, regardless of what the situation is, whatever comes up, you're going to stay on this path and you're going to not just seek your own comfort, you're going to seek the comfort of all the people that needs this comfort. And people might not get the comfort, but are you real about it? And if you're real about it, it's going to have some effect. It might even get you killed. But if it does, you look at that as a blessing. And it perhaps is because what I see out of that happening now is that it's a pattern where maybe the universal power is putting all of us, each of us, in the middle of all of this hell that we have created and see how we're going to deal with it. Are we going to deal with it to the extent that we are out of place? Are we so committed to a different way of life that there's nothing that's going to cause us to act just like this, to accept this as the way it is? And then, this to me, God says, like, shoot him if that's what the evil is, the way to decide they want to get you out, or fall with a heart attack or anything. But just separate you from this world. Sometimes you look at it and say, all the people that have lived here, the most blessed ones are those that are gone because they don't have to deal with this hell today. They don't have to deal with it anymore. But at least the point of it is to determine who you are. And so we go sparingly unless the systems just start murdering people by the hundreds of thousands, like dictators do, authoritarian people do. Otherwise, it's sometimes it makes it seem for a guy like me that it's a blessing to get out of here. But you don't commit suicide on yourself. But you just keep doing what you're doing. And if it's good and you're in the wrong place, they will take you out. And God allows them to take you out because it's your ticket out of hell. And people who are really committed to that extent, I don't think Gandhi had a problem being killed. I don't think Gandhi had a problem with being killed, or Malcolm, or Martin. I don't think they had a problem being killed. I think they expected it because they weren't going to give up. They were genuine. They really cared. And not submitting to the system as the way it is caused them to have to live. While there are other people who understand what's going on, they don't want to get killed. So they find some way to try to exist in it. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. It wasn't the thing that was on my mind. I never thought that if I just hang on in here, look after me and mine, and I'm walking around and not having too much to complain because the house is fixed, because the car runs good, because I got an account, I can go to the doctor. I never felt like that. Hey, that I'm anything special when I on my way to the doctor. I'm living in the wintertime. I'm passing people that's living in blue tents because they got nowhere to go, or seeing people just dying from families die. Whole, especially me, and I can think about my family. I got 5 brothers that's gone already. I'm sure it has something to do with a lack of proper health care. I'm thinking about my uncles. I got 5 uncles that's gone. I mean, it's like all the men just dead, and I'm sure it's the same reason. Or great uncles dead. I'm sure for the same reason, because we have failed to attach ourselves to the truth of life and start caring about life and protecting one another, about the love that we can share for one another. So it all comes down for me just to share these things with you, and that I call the real deal. The real deal is unless we, as a nation, as a people, wake up and make this change, the heaven we aspire definitely is not here. It is not here. That's the real deal. So then, by knowing the real deal, you can make a real choice. Do you allow when somebody say, "Let's do this because it's better"? Do you allow that to happen, or do you still keep sticking to the term "it's not right now"? Well, I don't think I should spend any more time on that, but I want to thank you so very much for giving me this yours. And I'm going to say, have a wonderful day. And if you go to church today, make it more than just going. If you talk at Sunday school today, make it more than just talk. I want to thank you so very much again, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye for now.